Zimbabwe's army says President Robert Mugabe and his wife Grace have been taken into custody amid speculation of a bloodless coup. As conflicting reports suggest Mrs. Mugabe has fled the country, Sky News takes a look at the First Lady referred to as a mad woman and Gucci Grace by critics. Background image: Mrs. Mugabe, wearing a shirt bearing her husband's face, at a ZANUPF youth rally. Born in South Africa in 1965, Grace Mugabe married an Air Force pilot and had one son. In the early 1990s, she secured a job in Mr. Mugabe's typing pool and started a relationship with the president while he was still married to his first wife Sally. The couple tied the knot in what local press called the wedding of the century in 1996. The Mugabes, who are 41 years apart, have two sons and a daughter together. Extravagant spending image: Mrs. Mugabe has made no secret of her desire to succeed her husband. Mrs. Mugabe's extravagant spending has earned her the nickname of Gucci Grace and First Shopper, and raised eyebrows across impoverished Zimbabwe. Known for her expensive tastes, the First Lady was reported to have splashed out £75,000 during a trip to Paris in 2002. She is also said to have spent millions on properties in South Africa, including £4 million on a mansion in an exclusive suburb of Johannesburg. Adverts for the four-bedroom home said it had rolling lawns, a summer house, koi pond and 6 reception rooms. Analysis: no way back for weekend. Robert Mugabe. Mugabe, the war hero who became a dictator. Mugabe's first son, Russell Guerreraza, has also been criticized for his high spending. Last month, he imported 2 Rolls-Royce limousines into Harare and was said to be expecting the delivery of an Aston Martin. The combined value of the vehicles was £4 million, Zimbabwean media reported. The president's rock image: Mrs. Mugabe has repeatedly clashed with ousted Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Grace Mugabe has been her husband's biggest supporter and insists he can continue to rule for years to come. In February, she even suggested the president could run as a corpse if he died before next year's election. While Mrs. Mugabe has portrayed herself as a fiercely loyal subject, she has also asserted her credentials to succeed the president. At a rally in 2014, she said, "They say I want to be president. Why not? Am I not a Zimbabwean?" Meanwhile, last year, she reportedly told the Women's League of ruling party ZANUPF that she was already the president. Rise to prominence: Robert Mugabe. In power since 1980, Mr. Mugabe is the only leader Zimbabwe has known in 37 years of independence. Despite concerns over his health, Mr. Mugabe, 93, says he intends to run again in elections next year. The world's oldest head of state sparked a political crisis on the 6th of November by sacking Vice President and likely successor Emmerson Mnangagwa. Grace Mugabe, Zimbabwe's First Lady, married Robert Mugabe, 41 years her senior, in 1996. The 52-year-old has since become a very powerful figure and repeatedly asserted her credentials to succeed the president. Mrs. Mugabe has repeatedly clashed with Emmerson Mnangagwa, who she is expected to succeed as vice president of the ruling ZANUPF party. Emmerson Mnangagwa, the 75-year-old former intelligence chief, was sacked amid claims he plotted against the government and showed traits of disloyalty, disrespect and deceitfulness. After his dismissal, Mr. Mnangagwa fled to South Africa and called on ZANUPF members to desert the president. Mr. Mnangagwa, whose nickname is the Crocodile, told Mr. Mugabe the party was not personal property for you and your wife to do as you please. General Constantino Chiwenga, the commander of Zimbabwe's defense forces, is seen as an ally of Mr. Mnangagwa and has demanded an end to a purge in the ZANUPF party. Hours before sending troops into Harare, General Chiwenga warned the military will not hesitate to step in to prevent treacherous shenanigans. He has been accused of treason by Mr. Mugabe. Major General Sibusiso Moyo. After troops seized control of the state broadcaster, Major General Sibusiso Moyo appeared on air to deny claims of a coup and assert the safety of Mr. Mugabe and his family is guaranteed. He added, "We are only targeting criminals around him who are committing crimes that are causing social and economic suffering in the country, in order to bring them to justice." Morgan Tsvangirai, Zimbabwe's opposition leader, came close to unseating Mr. Mugabe in March 2002 and March 2008, but lost both elections amid claims of voter rigging and intimidation. In 2009, the longtime critic of Mr. Mugabe survived a car crash which killed his wife, a collision his party suggested was not a genuine accident. Commenting on news of Mr. Mnangagwa's dismissal, Mr. Tsvangirai claimed the president is determined to keep power by whatever means. Close caption: The First Lady is a prominent member of ZANU-PF's G40 faction, so named as many of its members are in their 40s and 50s and too young to have participated in Zimbabwe's independence war. But while Mrs. Mugabe is popular with young ZANU-PF members, many of the party's old guard distrust her intentions. The First Lady has been embroiled in a long-running feud with ousted Vice President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who she is expected to replace at a party conference next month. Last week, the head of Zimbabwe's war veterans group described Mrs. Mugabe as a madwoman who had come to power through a coup, by marriage certificate. Assault claims: Image model Gabriella Engels claimed Mrs. Mugabe assaulted her in a Johannesburg hotel room in August. A South African model claimed she was attacked by Mrs. Mugabe while she was visiting the First Lady's sons, Chatunga and Robert Jr., in a Johannesburg hotel room. Gabriella Engels, 20, said Mrs. Mugabe's bodyguard stood in dead as the First Lady hit her with an extension cord. The model suffered cuts on her head and filed an assault charge against Mrs. Mugabe, who was allowed to return to Zimbabwe after South Africa granted her diplomatic immunity. Later, Mrs. Mugabe painted herself as the victim of the incident and accused Ms. Engels of being intoxicated and unhinged and attacking her with a knife.